I feel like a lot of people have asked the question, why Lawrence and why Lawrence, Kansas? And the answer is heat, humidity, small town, and it was just easy for us. Most of all, I just wanted to come down to sea level and have my final preparation be at sea level as opposed to being at altitude. The last few years, my preparations have been at altitude and they've gone just fine, but I wanted to try something a little bit different. And Tim and Julie's group were keen to get some heat and humidity, and we looked at Texas, we looked at Arizona, but in the end, I knew some people who had trained out here and heard it was a pretty good training location, and then it's only an 8-hour drive from Boulder, so yeah, we could pack up the truck and drive all of our stuff, all of our trainers, some extra toys for Izzy. So yeah, just basically can pick up our lives almost in Boulder, bring it here in Kansas and be pretty comfortable and have everything we need for training. This Kona preparation has been very different from every other Kona preparation. I mean, they're all different anyway, but after having Izzy, the whole year's been slightly different, and that, you know, I wasn't really fit until sort of June, and even then I didn't really have my run going. So it's really been just completely different. In past years, I sort of have my off season, and then I would like get stuck into training in January, and pretty much all year I was in pretty good shape. But this year, definitely a slower build through the year, and then yeah, I mean I've done some different sessions. You know, I haven't done my typical key sessions that I've done in the past leading into the race, and I'm doing a race 3 weeks out of Kona instead of 4 or 5 weeks out, so that's a different approach as well. So yeah, I mean, it's a different year, I'm a different person, and we'll see how it all plays out. Once we get rolling and once I'm fit enough to handle Ironman training and specifically Kona preparation, my week basically looks like this. On Mondays is typically a lighter day after having had a pretty big weekend, but we definitely do a swim, usually a bigger swim, maybe 5K. Sometimes I'll hop on the bike, sometimes I'll just have a legs off day. This year I've had a lot of swim only days and have had that, taken the option to have that legs off, just because I haven't had the fitness to be able to really get continue to, you know, build on other workouts. On Tuesday, usually it's a harder session, so like a really hard run, and then a swim off of that, and then another run in the afternoon, or we'd do a bike run and a swim as well. So Tuesdays are typically pretty hard training days, but either the bike or the run would be hard. Wednesdays, typically a longer day, 4-hour bike. Sometimes I swim before, sometimes I don't swim at all, depending on the plan the rest of the week. And probably an hour run off the bike. Thursdays, usually so if I did a hard run on Tuesday, I would do a hard bike on Thursday, vice versa. So that would be like 2 hours worth of biking, a pretty good swim on Thursday as well, and you know, pretty much run every day. So I usually run 6 days a week, bike 5 days a week and swim 6 days a week. And then Friday, depending on the weekend, it might be another hard run, or it could be a more recovery day, like a hour and a half easier run, a pretty good swim usually, and maybe a little spin on the bike. Saturdays are typically bigger days, 4 to 6 hour bike ride with efforts, and usually an easier run off the bike. I do sometimes do more quality runs off the bike as well on Friday, but again, it depends on what the week's done. And then Sunday is long run day, and these days it's long run and then Izzy time. So that's kind of how the week plays out. Yeah, so I did a pretty big workout about a week ago. I did 5 hours on the bike. In the last 2 hours I did some big gear work and some 15, 10, 5-minute efforts, and my legs felt great. One of the great things about training at sea level is, first of all, you recover quicker, so you can back up sessions, and secondly, you can see more watts on the bike. So I think it's pretty confidence building, and it's good to be able to push those higher watts. And so, yeah, it was nice to see good watts from me on the bike. And then I got off the bike, I practiced my race nutrition as well in that session, and so I felt pretty good getting off the bike. And then on the bike I did some 400s, 800s, milers and 2 miles, and all of that was 70.3 pace and above. And yeah, it all felt solid. I felt great. So that was probably, I feel like the last month I've started to feel like my old self running, and it's taken that long post-Izzy to get back to that sort of run form, and I'm seeing glimpses of it now, and feeling like my old self now, so that gets me pretty excited to see if we can perform on race day in Kona. My big goal is to run 250 in Kona. That's kind of been my goal since I started racing in Kona in 2009, so 9 years ago now. I think I can run that fast, but time will tell. It'll depend on the weather conditions, how hot it is on race day, and also how hard I push on the bike. I feel like I have access to maybe a better bike ride, and if I execute a really good bike ride, then the run might have to pay a little bit. But I'm gonna lay it all out there, and I'll go for that fast run split. But I think there's a lot to be said for not changing something that works, but in saying that, you have to adapt to changes in the field. And now there's a legitimate front one or two girls swimming a lot faster than the main pack, and so originally I was always pacing or racing against girls that are now swimming 3 or 4 minutes behind what Lucy Charles and Lauren Brandon are swimming. So I think if I hadn't had Izzy, I probably would have made a lot of changes and tried to really work on my swim to try and make that front pack. But having had Izzy, I feel like I was just trying to catch up a lot of the year and try to get back to where I was before. And in doing that, I've found that I've found access to a better bike ride. I don't think I'm swimming any better than I have in the past. I feel like I'm riding a little bit better, and it remains to be seen as to whether I can run as well or better than I have in the past. So if I hadn't had a year off, I think I would have tried to make some big changes, but it's really been trying to get back to where I was, and then doing that I ended up spending a lot of time in the wind trainer, which I think is the reason why I'm riding a little better. Okay, so we are planning to push out a bunch of content over the next couple of weeks into Kona. We want to talk about nutrition and our plan, what I do and what works for me and what works for Tim. Also race tactics, although there's not much my race tactics are no secret. Please subscribe, and we look forward to hopefully delivering some fun content in the next couple of weeks.
Take a swim in salty water to this crazy